For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
A catamaran with a couple on board, and so far the couple, they have not been found. American nationals. What are the implications for St. Lucia? Welcome to another edition of NewsSpin, the most monitored talk show in the world. My name is Timothy Poleon. We go up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. You will be included in the conversation when you call 452-2979. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And Kimani will be going through some of the comments in the chat room. And we hope that you're having yourself a fantastic day. That goes for Julia, who is a news spinner. She's also a preschool teacher. Her birthday is today. So happy birthday to you, Julia. Also, happy birthday to another news spinner, and that is Earl Lewis, who is celebrating his birthday today. So all the best to you folks. I was hoping that you will have an enjoyable day. The latest information that we have to share with you, and it is coming from the Office of the Press Secretary to the Prime Minister, and it pertains to a resignation. It says that Honorable Jeremiah Norbert has resigned as Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, and that is effective February the 27th of 2024. It says further updates will be provided by Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre on his return to St. Lucia. He's scheduled to return to the island, I think either tomorrow or Thursday. He's currently attending the CARICOM heads meeting over in Guyana. So once again, if you're just joining the broadcast, Honorable Jeremiah Norbert has resigned as Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly that is effective February the 27th, that's today, of 2024. Further updates will be provided by Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre on his return to St. Lucia. What would have prompted the Deputy Speaker to vacate that position? You'd recall that the Prime Minister told reporters last week that Mr. Jeremiah Norbert will be adopting responsibility for the Ministry of Home Affairs, and that is after the substantive holder of that post, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, became ill. She's currently undergoing medical treatment in Martinique. So very soon one can assume that the Micoud North MP, that is Mr. Norbert, will be sworn in to assume responsibility for the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Public Service, and also Gender Affairs. What will happen later after, God willing, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot would have recuperated from Martinique and returned to St. Lucia, we don't know. So we are in a state of flux as far as this issue is concerned, and we are waiting a further statement on this from the island's Prime Minister, Mr. Philip J. Pierre. So a lot of developments happening politically in St. Lucia. I just received some information from a source. We'll be verifying shortly and with a view to sharing that information with you momentarily. It has to do something with the police and crime in St. Lucia. But something happened over in Grenada recently, which definitely has implications for us, particularly the yachting sector. A U.S. couple identified as 66-year-old Ralph Henry and Kathy Brandel, 71. They were on the catamaran known as Simplicity. And apparently, they were thrown into the ocean by three men who escaped from a police station over in Grenada. And the men, they are aged 19, 25, and 30. And the eldest one was charged with 1 count of rape and also 3 counts of attempted rape and 2 counts of indecent assault and causing harm. They escaped from that prison, that police station in Grenada on February the 18th, and they hijacked the catamaran known as Simplicity on February the 19th and headed to St. Vincent, where they were arrested last Wednesday. Now, since then, the international press would have provided coverage on this, whether it's the Guardian newspaper over in the UK, AP, the Associated Press, the major news networks in the United States, and also there's been reaction from the authorities over in Grenada, including the island's police commissioner. Will be hearing from him during the course of our broadcast this afternoon, and likewise the Prime Minister of that country. Now, normally, when things happen in any part of the Caribbean, the impression is being given by those people who are not familiar with our geography and the location of the islands to mean that it has happened in one geographical space, and therefore all the islands are normally lumped together. So what happens in Grenada, definitely people see it as something that is also rife and occurs regularly in other islands like Grenada, like Dominica, St. Vincent, etc. Those three men were arrested, were captured in St. Vincent, and they are still in St. Vincent in police custody there. And 5 law enforcement personnel from Grenada, they have been sent to that Caribbean island, and we are waiting a further update. Early on, I made reference to the possible implications for us in St. Lucia, if any. And I'm trying to establish contact with an individual who I'm sure you're familiar with, who will be able to speak with us on this. I'm referring there to maritime consultant, Mr. Cuthbert Didier. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us on this afternoon's NewsSpin program.
Good afternoon, Tim, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Good afternoon to you. Mr. Didier, what happened in Grenada and ended up in St. Vincent with those three escaped prisoners and ending up in that part of the Caribbean and involving yachties from the United States? What are the implications for us in St. Lucia?
Well, the implications are very, very serious, and it's a very negative perception that's being marketed all around the world by all notable news agencies. I'm not sure if you recall back in the late 80s, there was a murder of a couple in Cumberbatch Bay in St. Vincent, which was featured on Nightline in the States. And that destroyed totally the yachting product of St. Vincent to the point that they have never recovered. In fact, yachting is blooming in the Grenadines, but never in St. Vincent because of that case. And this episode, I don't think it was going to have a happy ending. I don't think that the chances of finding this couple alive is going to happen. And if you read the headlines, the focus is on the Caribbean. And already, because of the Caribbean Safety and Security Net, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, St. Vincent have been having a horrible, horrible PR job with yachties for all these unsolved cases. So I think we have to brace ourselves for an even rougher yachting season for the next year and a half.
We also had our own experience with Roger Pratt, who was killed on a yacht in Vieux. Have we recovered from this?
Yes and no. I think St. Lucia, in the yachting fraternities, there's something that says, read up before you go. Be prudent, not paranoid. And a lot of yachtsmen and women have learned not to drop anchor in the Beaufort Bay. So primarily along the west coast, they focus in Soufrière, Rodney Bay, Marigot, and sometimes off Canary, sometimes. However, there have still been a lot of incidents, not as serious. We've had some cutlass bearing robberies, etc. in Soufrière. And, for lack of coordination, for lack of resources, for the want of a lot of egos, this thing has not been dealt with properly. I can't blame a government for that kind of thing. We need to take ownership. And in certain communities, there are people that are encouraging that behavior. So to come back to you, the Roger Pratt was a devastating blow. We did recover somewhat by having the trial, being forthright with the information, engaging Mistress Pratt. I remember speaking to her several times and giving her updates, and that helped. We cannot just put our head in the sand and hope that this goes away. Grenada has to come forward and do the right thing and share information, and whatever progress they seem to be making, share it with the world so that the rest of the world doesn't think that we're uncivilized and anything happens and goes unwanted and not dealt with. So there are a lot of things that we have to keep doing. It's not a perfect scenario, but we can recover if we share the information and we put pressure on the proper justice system.
You think the situation could be exacerbated with advisories already being imposed on certain territories, Bahamas, Jamaica, and so on, added to the gun crimes we have occurring in a number of territories, including St. Lucia, which also begs the question, Mr. Didier, what are we to do, generally speaking, about the crime problem? Amidst so many agencies and institutions and governments not owning up as far as their responsibility is concerned and passing the buck, giving the impression that it's the responsibility of other people, whether you're talking about the NGO community or ordinary citizens. In those efforts, who will lead? Because the Americans and the British and the Canadians normally look at it from the perspective of what are you doing as territories?
Well, that's a very loaded question, so I will attempt to respond in sections. Without a doubt, it's no secret that St. Lucia is now part of a narco heavy crime syndicate that runs from about Venezuela, Trinidad, all the way up as far north as the BVI. Anybody who does not want to accept that fact is living in Wonderland. Having said so, the whole region has a part to play with national maritime security. It has to be better coordinated. We have to learn from our mistakes. And when I say learn from our mistakes, we have to build strategic alliances, whether it was the United States, with France, next to Martinique, etc. But individually, anybody that has seen the crime rate soaring, and I'll use St. Lucia, for example. The amount of gun crimes, etc., choppings, the gangs, etc., it's sooner or later, that's going to spill off into all sectors, and whether it's the yachting sector, whether it's the tourism sector. So we all have a part to play. I'll start off by saying every citizen has a part to play. So I'll break it down. Of course, the state's primary function is law and order. If the police have the tools, the necessary tools, they have a primary role. But as St. Lucians, I don't think we can divorce ourselves and not get involved in the issue of crime and discussing it and finding solutions. I think, one, this gang culture that's now evolving, we need to address it, whether we involve this issues dealing with non-confrontation, etc. But more so, we need to start having a discussion about vulnerable communities, about young people who are energized, who do not have jobs, who do not have after-school programs, etc. So it's a very complex approach that involves all sectors, the private sector, government, everybody. So I'm not an expert at crime, but I know if we sit here and become armchair critics and say the police need to do that, it will only get worse and worse, and that's not the solution.
But
So the first thing we have to do is accept that we have a serious crime issue. The second is we need to engage the agencies and begin exploring real-time interventions to deal with it. Okay. And it will involve everybody.
You made reference to having a discussion on those issues. So let me just remind you that
when I say discussion, let me just give, hold on. I isolated the gang issue. We need to understand this gang culture, whether it's 7-6. We need to understand why young children that are going to school feel that they need to affiliate themselves with gangs. We need to understand it. I don't think we're understanding. Flooding the streets with more police is not necessarily going to solve a gang problem. Now, I know you want real-time, knee-jerk reaction. Yes.
No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. But that's not what I want. What I was about to say to you is we have had those discussions over several decades. For a fact, we've had those discussions at various levels. Whether it's you're talking about various commissions being set up, you're talking about having symposiums or consultations at the level of the private sector. The chamber would have led discussions on those things. And also it made reference to interventions. We've been hearing governments making investment in various, the deprived communities, depressed communities, etc., involving young people. Is it a case where we are just not doing things, we're acting in a haphazard manner, as opposed to being more methodical in our approach and deliberate in tackling those issues?
Maybe we need to take the fight to the criminals. Maybe, in the case of the South and Beaufort, maybe we need to set up temporary police mobile units in hotspots where we plant the police inside the community, whether it's 4 or 5 containers, and we house there, and we do the patrols, we do the lockdowns, we do door-to-door. We need to take the fight definitely to the criminals. And when I say have a discussion, I mean there are experts on this. There are ways to go about doing things. I'm not so sure if we've had a very focused approach. I'm not an expert. But the first thing we have to admit is we have a serious crime situation in St. Lucia and within the region, if I dare say, to quote the president of Guyana, and we need to start dealing with it collectively, whether We need now a regional police force to be deployed in various islands, whether we need to invest more money and stop the flow of guns, whether we need to review, really review where we're doing things, how we're doing things. This is a collective approach, and it's. I know we want to see results. I'm a concerned citizen too. The crime is affecting everybody. I don't think that we're really taking the fight to the criminals. I think we are hesitating on a couple of things. I think the police, in a certain way, have had their hands tied with impacts on pot, and we need to have the courage to sort it out together.
Here is my fear, Cuthbert, is that we'll continue to have the discussion, we'll continue to make the recommendations, and we will not do anything in an effective manner to arrest the problem. You just make reference to the hotspot, VA4. We know that those particular areas, serious crimes are occurring there, and it is concentrated in certain parts of the community. Why do you think, does it take somebody who is an expert to understand that you need to zero in on those communities and to, in a very forthright manner, effective manner, deal with those issues? Because people are saying crimes can occur at any point, anywhere in St. Lucia, but we know that there are certain communities where crime is more concentrated, and V4 is one such community. What can be done, to seriously deal with it there?
Like I just said, Tim, I fully agree. We need to take the fight to the criminals. We need to go in there. We need to get law enforcement in that community. As I said, whether you set up a mobile police unit that can house officers, and we're there within the different communities. We speak about crime, but I'll give you a couple of soft examples. The same approach as Giuliani. You have all these bikers up and down the road, no helmet, not licensed, slippers, they're on the road like ghost riders. You start cleaning up the little things. I think we need to do a lot more roadblocks. I think we need to do a lot more stop and frisk. We have to do it in a way that it doesn't impede on people's human rights, because you don't want to go too heavy-handed. But the enforcement agencies need to take, I agree with you totally, a proactive measure with all the hotspots. But on a broader issue, as the community, individuals have to be able to stand up and say, take the me out of crime. How many of us buy stolen goods? How many of us get involved in a blight, however simple, by breaking the law? So it's a holistic approach. And I'm not an expert. I may make certain suggestions based on my observation, but the time for talking, I agree with you, is done. It's over. It's past you. There needs to be some serious collective action.
Thank you so much for speaking with us this afternoon on the broadcast and sharing your point of view with us, and even offering recommendations as far as our crime effort in St. Lucia is concerned.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, just heard there from maritime consultant Mr. Cuthbert Didi. Still to come, you'll be hearing from former St. Lucia Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. We'll also be hearing from the island's acting Prime Minister. You'll be hearing from the Commissioner of Police over in Grenada in light of this incident involving the American couple following the escape from a police station of 3 prisoners. We have had this situation in St. Lucia where individuals who have been arrested and in some cases charged in connection with crimes, they have either escaped from police stations and they are yet to be found. Also, they have escaped from the Body Lake Correctional Facility as well. And very often when this happens, when those things happen, we hear from law enforcement personnel, including a senior official at the BCF, that those things do happen from time to time. They happen as well in prisons over in Argentina and Brazil and so on. But the Grenada situation should certainly have send a signal to us how dangerous that is, that if you have criminal elements under your watch, you must ensure that they are kept behind the prison walls or within the police station, the confines of a police station. Because once they escape, there's a possibility that they can engage in more serious crimes. I mean, this crime which the Grenadians are involved in or accused of having committed involving the American couple, that is a serious one, and it does not have implications only for Grenada, but the entire region and the yachting sector. So let's take those things very seriously, and let us not try to make excuses and trivialize them as, things, that do happen from time to time. Kimani, what's happening in the chat room?
In the chat room, someone says he's coming to tell us the same thing that his prime minister is saying. He's not an expert. So why are we listening to this guy? Another comment, Cuthbert, where is the saying that says to serve and protect? What is the role of a government and a police force? Are they not elected and selected to serve and protect? Well, put the public in the government and in the police department, and then we, the citizens, will serve and protect ourselves. Someone says, Cuthbert knows that and the Prime Minister doesn't. These strategies are very obvious. The Minister of National Security needs to fire himself. Okay, you're a little off mic. We'll try to see if we could rectify that problem. Let's take a call. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. So please call right now while we try to rectify that issue. You're watching and listening to NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page. Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message that I could go through right now. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, a concerned citizen. Okay, let's see there. Let's see if we have some more information. What we'll do, the broadcast will continue in just a moment with your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and your discussion in the chat room. This is NewsSpin.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593 or 285-3329. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Call 457-4433 to get bill balances. Use myaccount.lucilec.com for detailed account information and to make online bill payments using a credit or debit card or online bank account. Customers may also take advantage of SurePay's online or walk-in service. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
Embrace the magic of the night with someone special by your side. KFC Chicken Nights, a love story waiting to unfold. Sundays to Thursdays, 6 p.m. to closing, just for $35. Share 4 pieces of delectable KFC chicken, 3 tender strips, and 2 regular fries. This enchanting deal is yours to savor at all KFC locations because love knows no boundaries. Having chicken tonight? Make it finger-licking good with KFC's Chicken Nights, where love and flavor come together for a night to remember.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel, and shoulder pain, cramps, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo. Is more wet flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more wet flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video caster, unlimited talk so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 $ to activate.
Now that's the new vibe in the lingo. Yes. More upon more so the tingo. It's more wet flow now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Check. Repair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
The government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, continues to provide more for pregnant women in St. Lucia. Through maternal and child health services under universal health coverage, pregnant women will receive laboratory and ultrasound services through community wellness centers island-wide at no cost. From care during and after pregnancy, vaccinations, family planning to nutritional and mental health counseling, we are here to support you. Take advantage of our weekly services at no cost. And from 1st June 2023, the addition of laboratory and ultrasound services will ease the pressure to aid healthier and safer delivery for you and your baby. Visit your nearest wellness center to register for universal health coverage. For more information, call 468-5300 or 468-5328.
Information to share with you right now. According to a source, a police operation was conducted this morning in the Jirakako Babuno area where police officers were executing search warrants, but they came under gunfire. The lawmen returned to the area where 3 individuals were subsequently arrested. So police operation was being conducted in the Jirakako Babuno area this morning, where police officers were executing search warrants. In the process, shots were fired at them, gunshots were fired at them. The lawmen returned to the area where 3 individuals were arrested. It was only recently as well, according to Loop St. Lucia, police officers found themselves under attack by residents of Bruceville, VA4 on Saturday evening after they conducted searches in the community. and upon exiting the community following an operation, projectiles were hurled at the officers. And I think, Manny, you reported on this this afternoon during your broadcast because the island's acting Prime Minister did address that V4 incident during the pre-cabinet press conference.
I addressed more so his points on being responsible, or the media being responsible in how the news is presented to the public.
Yeah, unfortunately, politicians, particularly when they're in the office, they're not concerned primarily about the crime, but how you're reporting it. I'm sure many people can recall when reported a shooting incident which occurred in the north of the island a few months ago. There is in circulation a letter to sections of the media urging them not to identify the location of that incident, and merely, just to make reference to the geographical location, the north. Let's say it's the north. So politicians, especially ruling those in government, they want the media to do PR for them. But we're in the business of reporting the news. If it did not occur, we would not be reporting it. And the job of the government of the day is to ensure that the people are safe. If the people are safe, if we protect our borders, if we address the issue with criminal elements having illegal firearms and ammunition in their possession, then we would not be in a position to manufacture any such incident occurring involving those criminal elements. 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim, good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon to your caller.
So now, the news you did not get, that was on Saturday, I think, when the Fort Police went into Bruceville area and they came on the projectile and other things being fired. Now, we just heard from you now, a police operation in Babuno resulted in persons, firing at the police. You see how brazen these people are coming now? They want to take on the police. Now, that is why we have been saying sometimes when we have crooked cops, because a lot of crooked cops, some of them, maybe I don't know how many of them, but you have some that have been, friend to those guys. And that is why it's not good. Because before, when we heard about if you attack one police officer, you attack the entire police force, regardless of which station they are working. So now the police now to have to go back to the drawing board, examine right now how they are conducting the operation. Now I know the police had a special team, especially when situations like that are happening. When the police, if you see one or two local police officers, people feel well they could just tell them anything. But there are certain special team, detachment team or SSU, whatever. And these guys, sometimes when they go to those areas, sometimes the guys respect them. But what I have seen now, fellas are not respecting anybody. Tim, right now, if you have an accident with some certain persons on the road, whether you're wrong, when in fact you're right, they hit your vehicle, they just drive on you.
They drive off.
They just drive.
Yeah.
And if you proceeded by saying anything, you're in trouble. You see how I don't care we are in that country? It's like you cannot even report an incident right now. If somebody trying to come at your home and you venture, maybe try something to take them out, you're in trouble. You can't stay in that house again. You see how we become in that country? It's fearful island-wide. And then right now, the question, because every time that happened to the police, where persons are, whether it is projectiles or they fired at the police need to take these are serious threats. What about if a police officer were able to shot in that operation there? Well, the last time I remember there was an incident where a police officer was killed in an operation. It was him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, I thought at that time the police would have been a little more proactive or maybe be a little more serious because one of their own was shot and killed. So the police would have been different. But it seems like there are certain elements in the police force who just, I don't care. It's almost like they're not concerned. It's like the police force, nobody obey or take the rules from anybody. Everybody doing what they want, just what they want. And Tim, you quite rightly, I think you had covered the idea a while ago in relation to what happened in Grenada. And then now those guys were caught all the way in St. Vincent and the Grenadine. Who knows? They probably could have been in St. Lucia, we not know. So when one island affected in the Caribbean, the message is being sent to all the Caribbean islands. Pretty soon, if the U.S. were to be act on what is happening, St. Lucia will be included. Already Canada have us at level 1. We have a serious, I listen to Corbett very well, but Corbett, we have a lot of work to do, especially with law enforcement in the Caribbean, particularly, and I'm glad, Tim, when you engage him about the crime situation in St. Lucia, we have a serious work to do in St. Lucia. We just cannot let what is happening in St. Lucia, Tim, is a matter of concern. I heard that Deputy Prime Minister said they will take the fight to the criminal. I only hope that he's serious about it and he just didn't say that because of what you're hearing from the press and what is happening. We are in a really, really, really serious. I mean, I said yesterday, this is a national issue. That there are certain parts of the island that had to be on the state of emergency, so that give law enforcement sufficient time to do the work every weekend, too many activity, so that the police, does not know where to go and where to act. Too many activities. Give the police a chance so that the police can at least, police in certain areas and not having too many things to go through. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. I think we are off Facebook. I might be listening to the broadcast right now on 97.9 FM or YouTube. Okay, I'm told now that we are back on Facebook, so apologies for that interruption earlier on. The caller made reference to Acting Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire, making reference to the government taking the fight to the criminals. Let's listen to what he had to say yesterday during that press briefing.
It is challenging, it is difficult, but we're not going to give in. Because to do so is to lose our country, to lose exactly who we are as a people and what we exist for. So we have to control it. And persons that are involved in crime should take note that we're not going to surrender. It's not going to be easy. So we are going to fight, and we are going to ensure that law-abiding citizens in this country can feel safe.
Acting Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony, Acting Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire, my apologies to you. You're looking at things from so many angles, so many perspectives. You have so much information before you. I would like to, it's not often we get to do that on this broadcast, I'd like to commend Dr. Ernest Hilaire, because not even the Prime Minister and the Minister with responsibility for national security, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, has come across in such a manner that is so forthright. He comes across as being very concerned. He is, to a certain extent, saying it is our responsibility to take the fight to those criminal elements in our country. And it's worth playing that clip. He is not defensive. Just listen to his words on this particular crime problem we're experiencing right now.
It is challenging, it is difficult, but we're not going to give in. Because to do so is to lose our country, to lose exactly who we are as a people and what we exist for. So we have to control it. And persons that are involved in crime should take note that we're not going to surrender. It's not going to be easy. So we are going to fight, and we are going to ensure that law-abiding citizens in this country can feel safe.
Acting Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire. We continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have a call. Good afternoon, you're on the air. Hello, good afternoon.
A pleasant good afternoon to you, Timothy, and your listeners all over the world. Welcome to the Banana Republic of St. Lucia, Timothy. Timothy, I listen to Ernest Hilaire. And what Ernest Hilaire failed to realize, Timothy, is that people... Hello?
You're on the air, caller. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, what Ernest Hilaire failed to realize is that people are listening to him right now, and it comes in through one ear, the law-abiding citizens are listening to him. It comes in through one ear, and it goes out through the other. There is no time to talk. Ernest Healy knows that there is no time to talk about crime. We need action, Timothy. That's what we need. Timothy, the criminals are serious about being criminals. That's what it is. We have to be serious about policing. Timothy, I was at the street party about 2 Fridays ago, and there was a fight just 20 minutes before the street party ended. A few police officers was on the scene, Timothy. And to see the 2 guys that didn't even have breakfast for the morning, malmené the police officers, tossed the police officers from one side to the next. They were huge in size, but I cannot believe some, guys that didn't even have a proper breakfast in the morning, guys eating dry biscuits, can toss the police officers all over the place. These police officers in training, no handcuffs. You understand? Where are the police when they execute their jobs, when they're going to arrest somebody? Where are the handcuffs? No handcuffs. If you put a guy in a handcuff, you can restrain him, you understand, from leveling a punch at you or probably, you understand, stabbing you. But not one of the police officers had a handcuff. And these guys malmené the police officers. You mean 4 guys trying to arrest this guy that looks like a chicken, you understand? And they could not arrest this guy. Timothy, we have to get serious about crime in this country. The police are privy to a lot of information. They have to act on it. We elected this government in office to solve the problem. If they have to designate certain areas as hotspots, they need to do it. If they need to crack down on the guns and have legislation strict enough that when you're found with a gun, at least $100,000 plus confined, you understand, and charged, that would be the best for the country. We no longer will tolerate people with illegal guns in the country. The government needs to take a big step and actually act on legislation that is in the interest of the people of St. Lucia to protect us for the next 10 years. Timothy, I thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Kimani, the chat room, what's happening?
In the chat room, someone says, we need more than a...
You sound overwhelmed, Kimani.
Not overwhelmed,
oh, okay.
Tim. We need more than a pre-cabinet statement. Another comment, we can sit and blame parents and even those young men, but remember, a hungry man is an angry man. If the young man has no skills and they are getting those people to give them money to pull a trigger, then that is what they will do. The people and government of St. Lucia don't seem ready to put an end to all the crime because they are not ready to make the hard decisions and hold the persons responsible, accountable, because they know who the criminals are. Dr. Anthony said it some time ago. Someone says, I also think that we need to take a careful look at the caliber of politicians we are voting into office. In the chat room, someone says, I agree with you, Tim. Ernest Healy is expressing himself better than the Prime Minister. Nonsense. And shall I even say better than the Commissioner of Police, Tim?
For once, state an opinion, Kimani. For once. What are you saying?
I think he expressed himself better than the Commissioner of Police.
All right. I think he spoke from the heart, and I think that's what we've been waiting to hear from our leaders for a while now. Too much hedging, it sound as if you're not sure, as if
like
you're
me.
passing the buck. Not you. As if you're passing the buck, as if you're saying it's the citizenry. What the acting Prime Minister said is that we have to do something about this particular problem once and for all and take the fight to the criminal elements in our country. Instead of saying crime did not show its ugly head, over 2 years now. It has been happening before. You are in the chair right now. Do something about that particular situation.
Someone says most police are overweight while the block men have six packs. PW, how is that going to work? So we should just wait for when it affects us personally, right? Another comment in the chat. Are background checks conducted on any individual seeking public office in St. Lucia? YouTube comment, hey Tim, all I hear is we will take the fight to the criminals. When are they going to do that? Talk, no action. Please wake up. In a YouTube chat, someone says, so did I hear that the acting Speaker of the House resigned? It's actually Deputy Speaker of the House, Jeremiah Norbert, who resigned. In the chat, someone says, he's coming and tell us the same thing that his Prime Minister is saying. He's not an expert, so why are we listening to this guy?
We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, at least he did not come out and say that his father is not a police. So right now, he's action. So he should probably give Inatile a month or two. Stay in Guyana, because since they like the Guyana so much now, people should stay in Guyana and let Inatile handle the crime for a few months. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026 via WhatsApp. Somebody says, Tim, I agree with Cuthbert. We need different advice to fight crime. Hope these prisoners don't reach St. Lucia because we Lucians love harboring criminals. By the way, the criminals, the 3 escaped prisoners, they are in custody over in St. Vincent. Continuing with this WhatsApp message, somebody says, that's the same boys on the block Mr. Ernest referring to. And the person continues, Tim, we need to clean up our homes first before we criticize anywhere else. Dr. Ernest Hilaire is frustrated. 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. And once again, 716-2026. We have a call. Good afternoon, you're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Tim, you know, when it comes to crime as well, if people think that justice is slow to come and justice delayed, most of the time justice denied. And when you have a case that takes 4, 5, 6 years, even 13 years sometimes, people on remand. And according to the law, based on what I understood, you're not supposed to spend no more than about 2 years on remand. And people are spending 13 years in custody on remand. And people, the court system not working. And we don't have a witness system. So the witness system not working. People don't want to come forward. People, it seems sometimes the way we look at things here, people probably have more confidence in criminal to protect them than the police. And it seems to me that that is something that is so true based on what just happened recently. The other area is rehabilitation. We have a correctional facility. But you know something we don't have? We try to do sports, we do boxing, another violent kind of sports in prison, and we do these things there, and yet still there is no halfway home, no halfway house. So when these guys are criminals, or maybe they could have been first offenders that came from a particular hellhole, wherever, and when that person leaves that institution, what we call the correctional institution, what is the next step to really and truly rehabilitate this person? This person now, you don't give them a U-turn away from where they came from. They give them some kind of arrangement, some parole system, something that will say, well, look, you have to stay a particular place. And, we try to find jobs for you, have an agency to look after these things, get the private sector, which I think crime is affecting them very much, like every other citizen. The private sector and the business sector must be feeling it for the spate of crime in the country. It's just too much, Tim, and we are not doing enough on every facet that we have to use, every institution that we should be using. We are not doing it. We need to not walk. We need to run and chew gum at the same time. We need to do all these things simultaneously if we have to do anything to at least help to ameliorate the whole question of crime in the country. Because I will say, Tim, to me, it seems to me that some people have a kind of power that we probably don't even know about. When someone could say, there will be no peace, and we'll fight them, and we'll fight them in the trenches, and so on and so forth, and there will be no peace. And it seems to me that this is the curse that is going around in St. Lucia. So it seems to me some people have some kind of power, which, I don't know, but it's working on us, Tim. Because if you notice, instead of our crime situation is abated, it seems to me it's escalating by the seconds, by the moments, by the days, by the hours. We just cannot find solutions. And why is that, Tim? Why are we such a small little country? We don't even have 200,000 people here. Countries that have millions of people, as I said the other day, America have 339 million people, Tim, and they're only doing 6.4 or 6 homicides per 100,000. We don't even have 200,000 people, and we're doing up to 39 to 40 homicides per 100,000. You mentioned Jamaica, Japan, Australia, or any of the islands, but just saying St. Lucia, and how we so, minuscule. We're so small, Tim, that for you not to be concerned, an endless concern you must have why we are where we are here, almost, 19 known homicides, because we have to say known. What about those we don't know about? What about those that has not been announced, or somehow someone got shot and they died afterwards and it never come up as a homicide? But we are not doing what we have to do. All of us responsible, but in the sense that the way things are going, we just cannot say all of us are responsible. When we say that, Tim, my responsibility would be, if I see crimes, if I see something happen, if I suspect something is going to happen, I will call the police. I'm supposed to have some level of immunity. I'm supposed to be protected. No witness protection. So people not coming forward. So how are we going to solve crime when so many criminals out there, so many murderers out there who just probably on the bus with you, driving in the same lane in a traffic thing with you? Who knows? Who knows the next person you just managed to bug them shoulder to shoulder with them have had how many notches on them in terms of murders? We cannot sustain that. We cannot continue like that. Our businesses will go down. Even if we try to deny the whole question of warnings from other countries, instead of us telling people, listen, we must take these things seriously, we try to deny it, we try to shove it, under the table, and we all are going to suffer as a result. And this is serious, and it's more serious than we even could imagine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Via WhatsApp, somebody says, I'm a police officer, and I want Mary Francis to come and talk about my human rights to carry out my duties without shots being fired at me. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Tim, what's up with the crime-fighting programs? Rise St. Lucia with Dr. King, Vina Sherry, Betty, etc. Our Castro Central MP said football not working anymore. It seems the guys like cowboys and crooks instead. Tim, it is bad, it is bad, it is sad. The WhatsApp, what's happening in the discussion as far as Facebook is concerned, Kimani?
Someone is asking, is Ipa okay? He sounds different. Another comment, Lucian, stop sleeping and keep your mind focused. Do you all remember as soon as PJP got into office, the first thing he did was to let the criminals go free, and now Hiller is asking for peace. Another comment in the chat room. We have the solutions. Our government don't want to take the necessary steps and actions.
What's that message? What about the Attorney General? He's actually the top cop of the island.
Ipa, how can there be justice in St. Lucia when politicians go to a courthouse and ensure justice is done and interfere with the work of judges? Another comment in the chat, someone says, if I employed someone and they are telling me that they are not an expert, you are fired. You cannot take fight to criminals when you do not know who they are. Small men don't have the resources to order barrels of guns. We, but not the government. Okay, carry on with that attitude. Another comment, some draconian punishments need to be handed out to these thugs. Wow, wow, wow. So we have no speaker and no deputy speaker. The Caribbean leaders will have no choice but to address the crime issue because it is now impacting tourism. They don't care about the locals. Let's see what they do to ensure that tourism dollar keeps coming in.
Talking about Caribbean leaders, I think our leaders in the region, they continue to make excuses because when our Prime Minister says that we have a crime pandemic, then his Grenadian counterpart says there's a gun pandemic. But they never saw it coming because the writing has been on the wall over several decades now in the Caribbean. Yes, in the case of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell just came into office in 2022, but the likes of Philip J. Pierre has been in the politics of this country, at least elective politics, since 1997. He has been an MP. And a number of the other leaders, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Mitchell, is into what? I think his second term as Prime Minister of the Twin Island Republic. So they have been seeing the trend. They have the statistics at their disposal. It is a case of incompetence or maybe dereliction of duty on their part. All of a sudden now they're saying you have a crime or a gun pandemic. Let us hear from the Grenadian Prime Minister speaking in the aftermath of that incident involving the American couple and the 3 Grenadian nationals who escaped from prison last week.
From the time I've been in office, I've been saying this. Not because I have premonition, Mr. Speaker, because it is clear the trend is obvious. Anybody who's reading the statistics on crime in the Caribbean will see that gun crime is a pandemic in the region, and that it was just going to be a matter of time before it reached our shores. That has nothing to do with the Prime Minister who holds the position of Minister of National Security.
Prime Minister of Grenada, Mr. Dickon Mitchell, speaking in the island's parliament. 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, as we continue as well to monitor your discussions in the chat room on Facebook, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. What's happening there, Kimani? Any more?
In the chat on Facebook, someone says, recruit outside St. Lucia to take care of the criminals. Another comment, what is lacking is the political will and determination to tackle the crime situation. There seems to be some reluctance by the government to call out and take action. This is very worrisome. There is no one leading the anti-crime fight.
Where is the minimum wage that the government promised on Independence Day? A WhatsApp message.
Another comment, bring the hangman back. Change the law to have the parents arrested and jailed when their children kill someone. Put a sunset to sunrise curfew, 30 years for guns and 5 for every other magazine you have. No bond depending on the guns, 30 to life.
Still to come on the broadcast, our NewsSpin question of the day. You'll also be hearing from the MP for V4 South, Dr. Kenny Anthony, speaking some 4 months ago. It's worth hearing from him as well. And we'll be hearing from the Grenadian Police Commissioner, Mr. Don McKenzie. This is the most monitored talk show in the world.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Coming soon, the same excellent Lucelec service in a new location at Daisy Avenue in Sanssouci, Castries. Thanks for your patience.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo. Is more with flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more with flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video cast app, unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. More data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 $sign to activate.
Now that's the new vibe in the lingo. Yes. More upon more, see how the tingo. It's more with flow, now you really know. Get you now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
An exquisite 3-bedroom modern villa, panoramic ocean views, well-equipped modern appliances, a plunge pool. Bon Esprit Villa. For that quiet getaway in a lush green space. Your home away from home. Understated decadence, tranquility, and harmony. For special occasions and weekend getaways, the perfect escape. Bon Esprit Villa. Book now. Call 486-7965.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel, and shoulder pain, cramps, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Gouvernement Saint-Lucie qui travaille avec ministre pour santé bien portant, ex affaires grand monde et ka offert plus pour femmes qui enceintes en Saint-Lucie. En bas plan Universal Health Coverage avec service pour maman et riche. Provision déjà faite pour femmes enceintes joindre service laboratoire et conseil pour bâtir famille. Information à sounuiti et conseil pour santé sévère. Nous là pour supporter. Vini et point l'avantage de service ça là tous les toits. Service laboratoire et sondage pour un rien qui aider mettre femmes enceintes en plus bonne santé et fait plus sauve pour maman et riche. Visitez Health Center qui plus pour là et enregistrer pour Universal Health Coverage. Pour plus d'informations, couillez 468 5328 et bien 468 5300.
Embrace the magic of the night with someone special by your side. KFC Chicken Nights, a love story waiting to unfold. Sundays to Thursdays, 6 p.m. to closing, just for $35. Share 4 pieces of delectable KFC chicken, 3 tender strips, and 2 regular fries. This enchanting deal is yours to savor at all KFC locations because love knows no boundaries. Having chicken tonight? Make it finger-licking good with KFC's Chicken Nights, where love and flavor come together for a night to remember.
On Easter Sunday, the biggest brunch party in the West returns. Rise 4, the celebration. Easter Sunday, March 31st, Soufre Mini Stadium. Featuring international sensation Tennyson John and the TJ Project live. Also, MTX, A1 Jugglers, Sir Lancelot, Hype Kid, DJ JH and Dollo, Levi Chin, DJ Irv, Power FM DJs, MC Donnerville. Easter Sunday from 12 noon, we rise.
Look at people in here tonight. Dance with me, baby.
Regular tickets are $80 and $350 for a VIP terrace area. Get your tickets online at www.fourcirclestickets.com. Mambo's Bar and Courts in Soufrière and Courts Ready Cash island-wide. Get VIP and group tickets with no cash at Courts Ready Cash. Dress code Slay in Orange. Rise 4, The Celebration, an Optimum event production. Platinum sponsors, Courts Ready Cash and Power 97.9 FM. Gold sponsor, Bank of St. Lucia. Other sponsors, Digicel, Piton Beer, Strongbow, and Island Sound.
What we have to do is during the break, have a camera on us, and also have it on social media as well, because I think the conversation is even more spirited
It is.
during the commercial break. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. I think we have a call online right now. Do we? No, we don't. Okay, so let me see if I could go through a WhatsApp message, because we have lots of messages. My apologies to you in advance, because we have so many unread such messages. Kimani, you have some comments?
We have a few comments in the chat. Someone says all parliamentarians should be speaking out on the crime situation within their communities, especially in the hot areas. They should be heading to the families of the victims to march within these communities. Another comment, someone says, at this critical time for our country, no St. Lucian should say they're not voting.
With the way our crime rate is going up, it seems like the criminals will lock down the country soon. Police officers want to blame Mary Isaac, remember? Bad boys and police don't mix. Bad boys and ministers don't mix. Everyone can try to afford a lawyer. Do your job. What mess. Excuses, excuses, excuses. I mean, it's not far-fetched what this person has just intimated there, that very soon there'll be a lockdown. Not by the police, not by the Prime Minister or National Security Minister, but by the criminals.
At the rate we're going, it's not impossible, Tim.
It is not.
The only time that governments can speak is when they're announcing their bacchanal dates, carnival, jazz, etc., etc. After that, everyone takes the moo pill. In the chat room on YouTube, someone says, are we going to invite the regional security team back on island? Another YouTube comment, St. Lucia has become a lawless country. Back to Facebook, someone says, Tim, time to take a break on Wednesdays while Kimani holds the fort. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
We might just do that. You ready for the task at hand?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay.
Another comment, Tim, my question is, when they hold the criminals, where do they put them and what do they do with them? Another comment, secret deals and secret contracts are at the core of big level crime, using our positions to advance ourselves and using the plight of the poor to grow our influence and financial status. That's about it, Tim.
Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, Kamani.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
And good afternoon to the rest of the world. Tim, you mind if I call you the number one talk show host in the world?
I don't know. It's your perception. Do you watch the talk shows in other parts of the Caribbean, other parts of the world to determine that I'm number one? I don't think I am, called. Okay,
but you'll accept in the Caribbean.
NewsSpin is just the most monitored talk show in the world. Give all the accolades to NewsSpin, not me. Give it to NewsSpin.
Okay, all right then. Okay, understand. Tim, I was listening to Dr. Ernest Sile on his statement when it comes to crime. And based on that, I am a law-abiding citizen. I am asking the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, to step down and allow Dr. Ernest Sile to hold a position of security. Let us see what he can do, because Philip J. Pierre, is saying nothing at all when it comes to crime, because his father was not a police. So we have no form of policing in him. I believe Ernest Sile was a cadet So he have a little idea when it comes to those kind of things. I am asking as a citizen, concerned citizen of St. Lucia, born and raised in St. Lucia, I am calling on Philip J. Pierre, Prime Minister, step down in your position and allow Philip Ernestine to run the other half of the term to see where our safety will be. And Tim, secondly, I am calling every month, at least once, to inform you of the water at Timon. Up to now, they have not paid attention to that. And look, they're going to close down the water for at least 3-4 days. Well, they said they're going to. All right? A spoke lady came and talked on behalf of Wasco on the air and said they're experiencing problems at Ciceron. The problem at Ciceron has nothing to do with Timon when it comes to repairing the damaged pipe in the road at Timon. That has nothing to do with Ciceron. So if they fix the water, because what they does, they send in the water team 3 o'clock in the morning, and when you have by 5:30, it's gone for the entire day until 2-3 days later down the road. All the weekends you have heard from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, no water at Timon. And like I always say, I am not calling on Wasco for my behalf. We have elderly that are living higher up the hill by me, the water not reaching their homes. That is why I am calling that Wasco should do something about that. See what I'm saying? The same way they're opening the water to allow the Jabal and the girls to get water at the bottom of the hill. They can send the water and see where the pipe is damaged. Because once they came there and they mark it down 2 months ago, they mark it down, meaning that they are aware of the problem. Because that day the water was wasting on the road. They came and marked it down, and up to now, as we speak, they have not addressed that problem at Timon. So I call you in November, I called in December, I called in January, I am calling in February again. Tomorrow, God willing, will be the last day in February. Wasco is the worst company ever in St. Lucia. Tim, I take enough time, but I just letting you know that they have not addressed that problem at Timon. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a good afternoon as well, sir. We have a call via WhatsApp as we say hello and good afternoon. This is NewsSpin on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, caller. Sorry, good afternoon, team. I for the past couple of weeks, I was not able to call the show because I was quite busy. But this morning, I'm happy I could reach you.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And I'm going to follow up on what the last caller said, and I've been repeating that all the time from the time crime started to escalate in St. Lucia. The power of the tongue, the power of the tongue, it says the tongue has the power of life and death, something to that effect. Maybe you know the quote, or maybe you could think better than I. When Kenny Anthony, after losing an election, who's supposed to have been a leader of our country, who the people of the country gave so much privilege to conduct the business of the country, could stand up and say, there will be no peace. And Alva Baptist did say, there will be blood running in the streets. This is what we're experiencing right now. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And we're paying for the statement that they made. Timothy, I am a little older, much older than you maybe. I could say I'm 80 years old, so I'm an old man. I grew up in St. Lucia, and I could say I spent maybe half of my life in the US and half in St. Lucia. And what is happening, what has been happening since after 1997 is what got us here today. The banana industry, who destroyed it? The Labour Party. Every time the United Workers' Party comes into office, and trying to move this country forward. The Labour Party comes back in, the people, they don't just come on their own. We have to blame us, the voters, and put them back in office, and they trample over everything, saying it's the UWP. It is not, does not belong to the UWP. The Grosley Highway project was not for the UWP. The housing developments in St. Lucia and Shock and Babano, where it was not for the UWP. The hospital in Vieux Fort was not for the UWP, right? The airport was not for the UWP. It was for St. Lucia, the people of St. Lucia. I heard you with this interview you had with Mr.
Badidia?
No. A couple of days ago, I wasn't able to call this one. I watched it on thing. My friend with the business.
Reno Kajada.
I forget his.
Reno Kajada.
Reno Kajada. Yes. And I'm listening to Reno. There are a lot of things that Reno said that's true when we come to people, workers can't find workers and the attitude of workers and what have you. But when you started questioning him about government and government responsibilities and the actions and what have you, he was vacillating. He vacillated. He did not answer the question right. Okay? So he said that Alan Chasney was the kind of prime minister who would do things and, blah, blah, because Alan Chasney was a pragmatic leader that like John Compton. He was a man who think on his feet, He's something needed to be done. He just get it done because it's necessary, right? The Labour Party will never call a state of emergency, no matter what happened to us in St. Lucia. Because if they do that, they'll be going against their own preaching, right? Because it will be, you're taking advantage on the Malay way. This is what we have to do. We have to attack crime head on, no matter which area of St. Lucia it's coming from and who's committing the crime. I heard him talk about China and Russia and what have you. Singapore is a small island like St. Lucia. And look at how it's well governed, So we could take a page from Singapore and St. Lucia can be a prosperous country. But the Labour Party keeps pushing us backwards. And every time the people elect them, that is what is going to happen to St. Lucia. We need to change the constitution where both parties will form a government to manage the affairs of this country. Timothy, I thank you.
Thank you so much for calling all the way from the United States. Our question of the day. Our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. Why should VA4 South vote Labour at the next poll? Why should VA4 South vote Labour at the next poll? And somebody might ask, why are you asking that question? I think on the NewsSpin Facebook page, somebody told me that that's not my business. But you came across that comment?
I didn't see it, but
yeah, somebody told me that's not my business. But honestly, if you're living in VA4 South and you've been going through tribulation after tribulation over the better part of over a year now, and so many people have been killed. A 2-year-old was also killed. Recently, a woman in her 60s shot in her leg. What about the several number of people who are barricaded in their homes right now, marooned in their homes? Business activity in the South at a standstill. Do you have any reason at all? Because it's you need to reward your MP or your MPs with re-election based on their performance. That's why I've said that I'm always prepared to vote for the MP who can best represent my interest in whichever part of the island that I reside. So if you have an independent candidate, and he appears to have what it takes in terms of his knowledge, in terms of his expertise, his desire to effect change, you should vote for that individual and not think about him or her not being aligned to a political party. So in the case of VA4 South, I did pose the question because I see no reason why, if I were living in VA4 South, to re-elect Dr. Kenny Anthony as MP for that constituency based on his performance. Because I think, Kimani, you have discussed this privately. Can you imagine you living in VA4 South? Can you imagine that at all?
I can't. And I don't understand how people actually do. And I would be fearing for my life.
Because they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
A number of people want to live elsewhere, but the rent in Castries, the rent elsewhere, they have no family connection in various parts of the island. And I'm sure that those who can do that, they have changed residence. But the majority, the bulk of the people are just there waiting. You know what you're just waiting. The probability,
sitting duck.
Yeah, the probability of being shot and killed or injured is so high. So that is why I did ask the question. To the annoyance of some of you who posted some comments on the NewsSpin Facebook page, why should VA4 South vote Labour at the next poll? Let us listen to the MP for VA4 South, Dr. Kenny Anthony, speaking about 4 months ago, saying that even the police are hesitant to go over to certain hotspots in that constituency.
If you think members of the public are fearful of those who maim, who kill, who murder, then the police are even more fearful of going into the communities that they are supposed to be responsible for. How then do we cure this problem when we have to rely on the police to protect us?
You just heard there from the MP for VA4 South, Dr. Kenny Anthony. So over in Grenada, you've heard about 3 individuals who were in police custody at a police station. They escaped lawful custody and what they ventured to do. They hijacked a catamaran known as Simplicity. They had an American couple, male and female, 66 and 71 years old, respectively. Apparently, they were thrown overboard, and then those escaped criminals went to St. Vincent, where they were captured by law enforcement there. There was a press conference yesterday by the hierarchy of the Grenada Police Force, and the police commissioner, Mr. Don McKenzie, answered questions from sections of the press there. Firing the first question was George Worm, a journalist out of Grenada.
Mr. Commissioner, let's get the ball rolling. The first question, who is really to be blamed for this massive failure to keep these prisoners under the control of RGPF, which has now resulted in this tragedy? Who really is to be blamed, given the facts that, as you know them?
There is, whenever what is apparent a breach, an investigation was commissioned, as our news release or press release indicate. Our standard way of investigation is to ask officers to submit reports. That phase has been completed. We were not satisfied that we got to the bottom of it, so I have since directed a senior investigator to do a thorough investigation, the aim of which is A, to look at our system and procedures, and B, with the aim of correcting if there is a need for correction, and B, to hold persons accountable should we find anyone violated or did not comply with established procedures.
If at the end of the day, fingers are pointing at RGPF, are you prepared to accept responsibility on behalf of the police force for the blunders of RGPF? Are you prepared to come to the public and accept responsibility?
I as I said, that there is an investigation on the way, and upon the conclusion of the investigation, we will do what is appropriate.
Now, I need to ask another question. If these 3 prisoners had committed such major crimes as you alluded to in your press releases and brought them in front of a magistrate, why were they not sent directly to the prison instead of South St. George Police Station, given that these are dangerous men? Why were they not sent directly to the prison and not South St. George, which have its own problems, which we'll get to?
If I would take that question, Mr. Warren, we do not have the authority to send prisoners directly to Her Majesty's prison. Having been charged, there is due process for every person charged under the law. And part of the due process is to have these prisoners appear before a magistrate where the decision will be made as to whether they're placed on bail or whether they're remanded. These prisoners, by saying that they were in the holding cell, is the transferring point between the police and the court. So they would have been in court in couple days after they were placed at the South St. George Police Station. The determination as to what would have happened to them would have been made by a magistrate once they were taken to court.
So how long did they stay in the holding cells? How many days?
I can't be definitive about the answer, Mr. Wong, but I am by law, once you're arrested, the next possible thing, you go to court as quickly as is possible. They escaped custody on Sunday, so I would assume that they were arrested over the weekend and would have been taken to court on Monday morning. So we could not have sent them directly to the prison. We do not have that authority to do that.
Deputy Police Commissioner of Grenada. Before him, you heard from the Police Commissioner, Don McKenzie of Grenada. In a moment, the final comments in the chat room will have a report on that, Kimani. Somebody says there, a little dog followed me home this morning. I asked a neighbor to keep it safely because I'm afraid my Akita harms it. It looks like a Jack Russell, very well fed, friendly little dog. So the owner must be looking for it. Can you help, please? Do you mind? It's from the Morshe area. So Jack Russell went missing in the Morshe area and has been placed in the care of a neighbor in that somebody in that community. And if you can provide assistance, if you know the owner of that dog, that Jack Russell, please send a WhatsApp message to 484-6900. That is 484-6900. Kimani, what's happening as far as the comments in the chat room on Facebook and the NewsSpin YouTube channel?
Tim, if VFOT is still voting the way they do in the next election, I don't want to talk about them again. Let them swim in their doo-doo. Another comment in the chat, someone says, I agree with you, Timothy. They vote because they were born Labour. Their mother and father were Labour.
Somebody says, I'd like to see Dr. Kenny Anthony as Speaker of the House.
In the YouTube chat, someone says, leadership matters. Another comment back to Facebook. How can you say openly that the police are fearful of areas such in the South? These remarks will further embolden the criminals to act worse than they are now. What a wonderful endorse. The criminals love Dr. Anthony as the MP for VFOT.
Lamaze only gets water once a week, which is a Saturday. If we do not get the Saturday, we have to wait till the next week. This has been so for 10 plus years.
What they do with the criminals, hard labor, draconian hard labor, these prisoners need. They in bodily asking for special food and a new menu. St. Lucia, get a grip of yourselves.
All right, let's see. We could go through a few more messages. Kimani, if you have any.
No matter what, VFOT will still vote for Kenny. Please don't go there, Tim.
Tim, no speaker, no deputy. Who will pay the speaker? Remember, he wanted to cut Alan's salary for not attending House meetings. All right, we'll take a final WhatsApp call. Hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, Tim. I'm sitting here.
Yes, caller. Turn down the volume of whatever device you're using to listen to the broadcast. So it's confusing you.
You could hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I turn on the radio.
I'm okay.
I'm sitting here watching the American news, international news. And this thing that about Grenada, it's in the American news already.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They have the guy's pictures and everything.
Right.
Showing on the American news. I'm just watching it on television right there.
Mm-hmm. So that's why, sir. That's why we have to take our crime situation in St. Lucia seriously.
I just hope he'll let me in what he says.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay.
But that's so serious, I tell you, for the region.
Very much so.
Very, very much, very much.
Okay, Colin.
All right, Tim. Take care.
Thank you so much for calling. Finally, our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day. EU introduces 10-year prison sentences for environmental crimes. EU introduces 10-year prison sentences for environmental crimes. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel and listening on Power 97.9 FM. This has been another edition of the most monitored talk show in the world. Please join us tomorrow afternoon, same time, 12:30, for another edition. Goodbye.